Welcome back, everybody. This is my 1991 BMW E30 and the clutch has failed. In order to get it running in tip-top shape, I have to pull the trans and replace the clutch. I've never done a clutch on an E30. It should be pretty straightforward. Let's rip this clutch out. Let's find out if there's any specialty tools that I might need for this, and let's hope I don't break anything. So in doing research on this vehicle, I think the hardest part is gonna be getting that starter out. That starter is buried right there. That starter looks like it has a weird looking bolt on one end and then like a 17-inch nut on that side. Ugh. This should be easy. This should be the easy part. That starter and then the bolts that are way up above. I mean, I could probably get them once I get all this out of the way. So what we're gonna do is exhaust, drive shaft, cross member, tilt the trans back, and hopefully it'll just fall right out. At least that's the plan, right? But check it out. Before we got started, I've been soaking these exhaust bolts with WD-40 because they are quite rusty. You're not gonna really need any specialty tools except for these. You see these right here? These weird looking like inverted Torx bolts. You see those? So, but I think I have those sockets, inverted Torx. All right, so exhaust is a 15. Woohoo! That's what you want to see. Oh, I thought it broke. That was scary. That's what we don't want to happen. Because if that sucker breaks, it means I gotta re-tap and all that stuff, and definitely don't want to do that. I gotta pull that O2 sensor, and then in the back is just a couple of 10s. I think they're 10s. And then I could pull the cat out of it. So these are 12s, and no real good way to do them by hand like this. Try this again. Right, there you go. Next thing that needs to go is this drive shaft. Then I can drop this cross member, a couple of 17s, take those off, and then I could just hopefully just scoot this back. Maybe I should mark it. Yes, I should mark it. Yep. Oh, it doesn't come off. Dang it. The drive shaft on the flange right here, it has like a piece that goes into the guido. I think that's what they call these. I don't know what they're called actually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the mount and hang it and see if that gives me enough room just to pop it out. I'm telling you guys, I've never done this. It's not impossible, but it is a pain in the butt sometimes. You don't want to just make it easy on you. Alright, so that's out of the way. Now I'm gonna go ahead and release the trans jack, or the floor jack, and see if I can just sneak this out without having to pull this drive shaft out of the way. Man, nothing but failure here, huh? So I gotta pull this cross member off, and then the shields for the drive shaft, which isn't difficult. It's just something that I didn't want to do. Alrighty. Shield out of the way. It's a good thing I pulled that out, because I think if I just loosen this up right here, it'll give me enough room to move the drive shaft back. I hope. See? Easy peasy. Alrighty, so the next step, at least in my book, is I gotta take these shifter rods out. And it looks like it's just a C-clip retainer. Alright, that's that. So this side will have the same thing, right? Yep. There's a couple washers and a C-clip. Alrighty then. Here, this shift rod, this top one, I don't know how to get it out, so I'm gonna just pull this. It's just got a 13 that I think just holds this. Could probably move this out of the way and then drop this and see what the heck is going on there. Alright, that comes off. It's pretty easy. This? No, same thing. So, alright, now I'm gonna drop the trans. And now I have a better shot at stuff going on up in here. I could take the slave cylinder off. Oh, it's just a couple of 13s holding it. So this sound deadener is in the way. I can just push it out of the way. All right, we're good. All right, it looks like I can get to everything else. The only specialty tool you're gonna need here is that inverted torque socket. I'm only gonna need the 12. So it looks like 12 and the 16. I got the light stuck. There it goes. Sorry. Go down. This tranny's small. Go down. Oh, wait, no. I pull the trans up.
Does it not include the oil pan?
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
That's good right there. See how bad this is. Hey, the clutch ain't bad. Alright, as you can see, this flywheel is mucho smoked. Let's pull these bolts off. Oh, as you can see, look how thin that sucker is. Check out the wear right there. It is smoked. You can compare the new one and the old one, how much thicker that one is. So I'm gonna send that out to get machined, and then we'll reinstall it. All right, guys, so we're back. It's been a few weeks since the last time I took this apart. The reason being, I went all over the valley, and for whatever reason, nobody could machine this thing. Because this is a dual mass flywheel. So I guess there's a giant spring in between here that picks up a lot of the vibrations on these trannies. Well, this vehicle. It's a fancy vehicle, right? It's a BMW. So I could have went anywhere in this valley that would do it. And I went to all the usual suspects, the ones that said that they could do it, but none of them said they could do this dual mass flywheel. So I had to return the parts I had because I thought I had to purchase a flywheel, a dual mass one, and these are like $700. So luckily for me, I found a place out in Cudahy, F&S Clutch and Performance. If you need any machining done on your flywheel and it's a dual mass like this one, take it to those guys. So they did a great job. I took it to him. He had all the tools, because I guess these dowel pins have a way to be removed, and then a way to machine this, because I guess they were saying that if it doesn't sit straight because of the spring that's in the middle, if it moves, it'll break the tool or something. But he was able to do it. I'm not even kidding, man. I took it up in the morning. About a half hour later, he had that. He got me a clutch and a pressure plate. So it actually worked out really well for me. So now I can put this sucker back together. All right, so let's get this sucker back on. You see this dowel right here? There should be a spot on your flywheel, and that'll line up with that. Mine's right here, so just gotta make sure those two line up, and that'll pretty much center the whole thing. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna run these down. You always want to put some Loctite on these. Alright, and we tighten these up always with the star patterns. And always remember, usually that goes towards the engine, not the trans. I mean, this one's marked right here, flywheel side. Put our trusty little alignment tool, pressure plate, and it's the same thing with the pressure plate. You want to give it that good old star pattern treatment. So, since this transmission wasn't even that heavy, we are going, well, I am going to attempt to just muscle it up there. I want to make sure you're going kind of straight, because you want to make sure ooh, I want to do that. See how it's putting all the way around? Oh, man.
I see the small Honda ones they're huge.
Alright, we'll try again. Just tilt the engine back. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's in the way, huh?
Yeah. This tube right here.
I'm getting tired.
You want the jack?
Alright, yeah, bring the jack. As you can tell, trans is all the way back in. Just got to tighten up a few bolts. Put the shift rod back in. Stick that connector back in. Drive shaft. And all of my heat shields and the exhaust. That should be quick. That's all, you know. That's pretty easy to do. I'm probably not going to record any of that, because it's just putting it back the same way I took it off. But as you can tell, that was the worst idea I ever had. I couldn't line this thing up. There's a, you can barely see all the way up top. There's like a heater water control valve that's up there that was blocking the trans from getting it up, and it was just a pain in the butt. So somebody had to help me to get that sucker back in. And the hardest part about this was actually installing this starter. That was the biggest pain in the butt. That's harder to do than the actual transmission. Those two bolts that are up there, because it's a nut and a bolt. It's not just like a standard starter that the bolts go into the transmission housing. So that was a pain in the butt. I didn't even make it around the block and I already found a problem. See my shifter? Look, this is first. See how close it is over here? And how far away it is over here? Now I got the boot over there, I'll put it on later. But I think what I did, see how it's kind of sitting in this, I don't know if you could see it better. It's supposed to be more in the middle. What I think I did wrong is that shift tube that I took off, I think I put it on the opposite, so instead of it being on the right side, I put it on the left side. I think that's why this is off. So I gotta put this back in the air again. It should be an easy fix. It's just a couple clips you take off and then you swap it back over, but let's see if that's all it is. Now the only problem with the way I'm gonna do it now is that now I have to contend with this hot exhaust. All we're gonna do is use our trusty long needle nose, because I don't want to get burnt. Ah, dang it. I lost the clip. Ah, no way, bro. Oh, shoot, I don't know where it landed. That's gonna be terrible. All right, I made the problem bigger. Let me get a magnet, see if I can find it. All right, guys, so I got it all figured out. What I did is I put the shifter in backwards. So instead of it being like this, you know, like north to south, or at the bottom where that little pin goes through, it was like left to right. It had to be right to left or east to west, you know what I mean. Basically the shifter was in the wrong direction. Now as you can see, it's right in the middle. Perfect. So now let's go out and drive it, see how it shifts. Now I know you can't feel what I'm feeling, but this thing just shifts so smooth, so much nicer than it did before, which is, you know, what you would want to see after a repair like that, placing the clutch and getting the flywheel machine and all that. And like I said, the hardest part about this whole thing was that starter. Everything else is pretty straightforward. You know, and I used to know an engineer that worked for BMW, and he told me that when the E30 came out, you know, around the mid-80s, that BMW wasn't doing too hot as far as sales go. So the engineers got together and made sure this is probably one of the best cars ever built. And I totally agree with them. This car is built so nicely, very easy to work, very easy to service, not like modern BMWs. And it just runs good. Even this little 4-cylinder has plenty of power. So I'm glad I finally got around and replaced this clutch. It just makes it that much more drivable. The clutch wasn't that bad before, but the pedal was very low. It didn't shift right. It just didn't feel right, and now it feels amazing. So I'm so glad I got it done. So now I can really hammer this thing on the road somewhere. But thank you for joining me once again. Please like and subscribe if you're liking the content. Leave me some comments down in the comment section if you need any help doing this. Maybe I can answer some questions. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.